Well, I just want to take a second because I love me some Perkins Builder Brothers. In fact, my wife and I both like to watch their videos. We just finished up the 10th home office video. And a big part of that was Jamie's installation of an extension jamb. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing because, of course, earlier in my career, I struggled with what the heck is going on with an extension jamb. It can create a lot of problems, and I just figured, you know what, I've got a perfect situation here to illustrate a point. We've got a wall that was too wide, much too wide, wildly too wide, and we've got it's not going to be a conventional amount. We've got a bunch of different layers. Sometimes if you have a 2x4 jamb and you have a 2x6 wall, well, then it's a relatively fundamental. You can even buy a kit for that, but this is a unique situation. What you're going to notice here, though, and what I noticed immediately when I watched him do the install, was that doors swing in to a room. Now, in his case, it's an exterior door, so like this situation here, it's going to swing in, okay? But immediately he was saying, you want to extend the jamb, but you want to avoid being flush because right to start with, your strike plate swings over into that space. And if you're flush there, then the little strike comes out and it scrubs your extension jamb the whole way. Because see, it's immediately free of the jamb on this side of a door and it doesn't make any marks there. Well, what they needed to do was install their jamb that's too narrow for the wall like I did here, flush to the inside. Now that's what this is good. I'm going to use the original wainscot here, which is why I'm flush to that, not flush to this bead board here that was installed. But you take the unit and you send it flush to the inside because on any given door, on any given jamb, the slab is flush to one side of the jamb. That's the inside. So the extension jamb on this door is a lot like the situation on Perkins' show, but done correctly. It was done on the outside of the building. I did choose to set it back for a reveal because it was a painted color versus this finished color here. But that allows me to build the jamb out here, and I don't have any problems with the strike interrupting on the way in, as well as the hinges when I'm all done here. They'll stick out, and I don't have to notch in and around an extended piece of trim for the hinge problem that he was having. Lastly, I knew I was going to need an extension jamb in this situation. So once again, the door, the slab, is flush with the jamb on this side, and it opens into this space. So it's flush here, and the extension jamb will be built out here. Now, I have a habit of making my framing openings so perfectly plumb, if I can help it, to put the hinge side tight jamb to framing, and I don't even need a shim. And it's often where I try to start with a door installation. So if this is nice and plumb and this is nice and plumb, then I can just rack this up and down a little bit, and I do my shimming on the strike side, and I put a shim essentially right where the strike is. In a lot of cases, I probably would be right on. In fact, I was here for the deadbolt and the latch and the exterior door for security reasons. Close enough for the interior door, but you notice I use these nice big cedar shims, and I let them come all the way out here. Now, they represent a plane that's at the back of this jamb. So when I come in here with whatever material, I might use 5/8 because jambs are normally a little bit like 5/8 under, or 5/8 rather than 3/4. So I get myself some extension jamb material or some scratch building jamb material from the millwork place, or I make myself some, plane it down, whatever. But I can come in here with the rip of the right width, and I can just stick it right to this face, and it will basically fly in flush. Now I have a repair to make because this was a secondhand door, but it'll fly in flush if I take this staple out and this old caulk out, because this is a secondhand door I got for cheap, to there. Now I might have done the same thing across the top, but I didn't have the presence of mind, but my overall length will help to hold it at the right plane, and I could do the same thing over here and then slide that guy in there. So I think altogether, even though sometimes very, very infrequently, Jamie, you've got to put a door in the way that you've done it and slide it. I don't know. I feel like in my whole career, I've seen one case where you really couldn't keep from having to do that. But the way that it really should be done is to send the inboard side of the swing to the inboard side of the room and to flush everything out in that way. Extend the outboard jamb, especially on an exterior door. It's one of the first things I see when I see pseudo-professional door installation is not the swing going in the wrong direction, but the extension jamb on the wrong side of the jamb. And one of the nice things you can do out here, this is white cedar, and I think that was actually cedar too. Maybe it wasn't. But in the event that you have a white jamb or a PVC jamb or whatever, you can use AZEK out here. You know, you can get, even if your jamb isn't plastic, you can do an extension jamb with plastic, and you're all that much more protected. And you do your trim with plastic and everything, and do a nice paint job between the two of them, and you've got a bit of a buffer between the elements and a jamb that may not necessarily be a composite, which in this case it is. Anyway, I still love Perky Builder Brothers. We love watching, but I think it would be cool to come back around and note some of those things with that door install, because it's just it's a really subtle stumbling block, because there's so many sides and directions and swings and everything to a door. You send the latch and the slab in-swing flush with the wall, and you extend the other side. In an exterior door situation, you extend the outside. In an interior door situation, you just go, you extend the side that's opposite the swing of the door. That's how you do an extension jamb.